and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. If you'll give your attention to Miss Hart, she'll undertake the direct testimony.
Let me introduce yourself to the jury, please.
Hey, I'm Deena Harper-Causey.
And you just identified that your name is Harper-Causey, so let me ask you, were you ever married to Larry Harper?
Yes,
How long were you married to Larry Harper?
24 years.
And were you married to him in 2005?
Yes.
Is Mr. Harper still living?
No.
When did he pass away?
February of 2019.
Now, do you know someone by the name of Marcus Harper?
Yes.
How did you know Marcus?
He was my stepson.
And what about Tara Grinstead? Did you know someone by the name of Tara Grinstead?
Yes.
Now, are you retired or still working?
Retired.
What did you retire from?
From education. I was a teacher, and then I was a principal, and then I was at the board office as an assistant superintendent.
In 2005, do you recall what you were doing?
Teaching.
What did you teach?
Elementary, 3rd grade.
Goodness gracious. Okay. How did you get to know Tara?
My daughter was made it on the junior varsity cheerleading squad, and although I had never been a cheerleader myself, after 2 tryouts I still failed. I just said, well, I'd love to just do what I can do with them, and so that was the year that she started working over at the high school, I think, unless she came the year before. I had never met her before though, but she came through the gym one day and came over and we were talking, and she said, well, I'd love to help you with the girls because I cheered in Hawkinsville. So.
And did she wind up helping you?
She did.
Cheerleaders?
She did.
How long did she do that?
Well, I only did it for a year.
Okay.
So then she took over after that.
And what about Marcus? Do you know if Marcus knew Tara?
At that time, no, he didn't know her.
Did he come to know her?
Yes.
Do you know how they met?
I don't.
Guess my question is, did you introduce them?
No.
Do you know if Marcus and Tara Grinstead ever had a relationship?
Yes.
And do you know how long it was that they dated?
Several years. I'm not sure how long that would be.
Now I want to direct your attention to October of 2005. Prior to Ms. Grinstead being reported missing, do you recall any incidences in which Tara became particularly upset about a situation with Marcus?
Yes.
And how did you find out about that situation in which Tara was upset?
Well, there was one incident when she called and was just really upset, and they had a talk, and some things had happened, and she was so upset. I just went over to. Well, I tried to talk to her on the phone, and then I just finally went over there to the house.
Do you ever recall a time in which you and Mr. Larry actually had to go pick her up from the side of the road?
Yeah, about I don't know, a week or 2, 3 later maybe. She was on her way home from class. She was working on her master's degree, I believe. Might have been doctorate, I don't know. Anyway, working on an advanced degree. She was taking classes in Waycross at night. And she was on her way home from that class, and she called me on the phone and was extremely upset and was really just sounding incoherent. I just told her to stop driving and pull over at the little airplane up there, and we'd come get her. So that's what we did.
At the time that incident occurred, that y'all had to go pick her up, do you know if she and Marcus were actually still in a relationship together?
I think he had broken it off or tried to break it off, and she was just extremely upset about it. Yeah.
Now, when you got to the location of where she had pulled over, who went with you to that location?
Larry and my granddaughter that we were keeping that night.
Okay. Was Tara able to drive home?
Oh, no, no.
Who drove her car home?
Larry drove it home.
And when you got back to her house, had she improved any? Was she any more calm?
No.
What was she actually doing?
Crying, screaming.
Had you ever seen Tara act that way
No,
before?
no.
Did you or Mr. Larry enlist the help of anybody else to try to get her into her home that day?
We did.
Who all wound up being there to try and help get her into her house?
Well, we called Dr. Davis
Yes, sir.
because he was good. He was close to her too, and then we got Joe because we couldn't find her house keys. So Joe Portier
Yes.
had a house key we knew, so we called him to let us in.
Do you recall how Tara got into the house that day?
Everybody just had to pick her up and try to carry her in.
When you left your house that day, had she calmed down at all?
No, maybe somewhat. She had cooled off some. Was so extremely hot when we got there. She had cooled off, but she was still crying and asking for Marcus and wanting me to call Marcus, and I just told her I just couldn't do that. Didn't want to get in anybody's business.
Do you recall if she ever called Marcus's mother that day, or if Marcus's mother came over that day?
I had heard, I think Marcus mentioned that, but I didn't know that except by what he said. So
Okay. So you didn't see this name?
no.
Did Marcus ever come over that day? When you were there?
No.
And when Tara was so upset and screaming for Marcus, did she say what she was upset about? Was she explaining to you what had made her so upset?
Well, she had mentioned, she said it then, but had mentioned it a couple times before, is that I think they had dated like 6 or 7 years, and she, felt like she had given it all she had for 6 or 7 years, because I think she thought that, it was going to be a wedding.
Yes, ma'am.
And Larry and I both thought that too. We just assumed that was what was going to happen, but it just didn't work out.
How long before she was reported missing did that incident occur? Do you recall?
Maybe a week, 2 weeks, but about a week and a half, I think.
How was it that you became aware that Tara was missing?
I was at school, and Mr. Portier called. I can't remember. He must have called Larry because I was in the classroom, and said that he had not seen her bedroom light on all day Sunday, or Monday morning it was not on, and her car was still under the garage, and so he just thought she must be sick, and we decided we would go check on her.
Before you went to check on her, were you familiar with whether or not she showed up for work that day?
She did not. I can't remember if I knew it then or if it was when we got to the house.
But at some point, did you find out she
Yes,
didn't show up?
she didn't show up for work.
To your knowledge, in working in the school system, had Tara ever failed to show up for work without calling in before?
Oh no.
How would you describe Tara as an employee?
Oh, she was very dependable. She was very conscientious about her job. She loved the kids and went far out of her way to make sure that she was doing good instruction. She was a good mentor for the children, other students. I guess they were high school. They weren't children like I taught. So.
Even with what I'm going to call drama that was going on with Marcus during that time period, did it ever seem to actually affect her ability to do her job?
Oh, no.
Did you go over to Tara's house that Monday morning?
Yes.
And when you arrived, do you recall who else was there?
Well, Larry, my husband, was there, and then Mr. Portier had the key, and he had to let us in because we didn't have a way to get in.
Yes, ma'am.
Because she had an incident several weeks before that where she had just been sick,
Yes, ma'am.
and I went and to see about her. And
Now that incident when she was sick a few weeks before, did she miss school without calling in, or?
yes, she actually did. She had fallen asleep during the night because she'd been up most of the night and just overslept, but she was not able to go to work. So when I got there, I called the principal and told him she was too sick to come in.
Other than that, have you ever known her to not show up for work that often?
No.
So that morning, did you go into the house?
Yes.
And where in the house did you go?
Well, we just went in the front door,
Yes, ma'am.
walked into the living room. I, of course, kind of turned to the right and went straight to the bedroom first to see if she was in the bed, and she wasn't.
Did you, I guess then it sounds like you knew where her bedroom was in the house?
Yes.
Anything seemed out of place to you in the house at the time?
Well, her bed was not made, or if it was made, it was shuffled, you know. So,
Did you find that unusual?
well, given the fact that the girls had been there that Saturday night getting ready for the pageant, no, because I don't know how many she got ready, but
At the other times that you had been to her house, did you recall if she normally made her bed?
yes.
She did.
Hmm.
Anything else that you noticed about the house that was unusual?
Well, there were clothes, you know, kind of laying around. There was some jewelry out. The phone that was, I can't remember if it was the kitchen phone or the bedside phone, but it was laying on the floor in the bathroom. And so, of course, like an idiot, I picked it up and I was going to put it back on the headset, not thinking. But my husband quickly reminded me not to touch anything.
Okay. Did you wind up touching the phone? Or do you recall?
Well, I picked it up before I thought about it. I mean, I didn't think there was anything criminal going on. You know, I just was straightening up. I don't know.
And I guess to be fair, that Monday morning when you walked in there, did you have any idea that all these years later you'd have to testify?
No.
Now, do you recall seeing anything in the yard when you were at the house that day?
Yes.
What did you see in the yard?
Doctor's glove or medical glove.
Do you recall if you saw that when you first got there or not?
I actually remember seeing it as we were going up to the front door. Yeah.
Looking at, actually, I'm going to have to turn it back up for you, the exhibit on the screen. Say exhibit 40. Is this an accurate depiction of what the house looked like essentially that day?
Yes.
And was her vehicle home?
Yes.
Do you recall where you parked when you got there?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you recall where anyone was parked when they got there?
Mm-mm.
No. Do you recall whether or not anyone ever checked Tara's vehicle that morning?
At some point during the morning they did. We didn't go out there. I think when the police got there, or I didn't go out there to see about the car. I don't know about anybody else.
Do you have any personal knowledge if Tara's car was locked or not locked that
No,
morning?
I don't.
Did you touch anything else in the house when you were there?
Yes.
Okay. Any idea sitting here what you may have touched when you were there?
The answering machine on her phone.
Okay. Why did you touch the answering machine?
Well, because it was blinking, and I thought, well, maybe I was trying to figure out where she would be, you know.
Yes.
And so I thought, well, maybe that was somebody calling, leaving me. Maybe that would give me a clue.
And
I don't know. Just
were there
desperate to
messages?
find her. Yes.
I apologize. Did you recognize any of the people who had left messages that morning, or that were on there?
I don't recall that I recognized any of who the people were. There were.
And what about her caller ID? Did you ever look at that morning? I know you said you picked up the phone, but did you check her caller ID?
No, I didn't.
Do you recall if her cell phone was at the house or not?
It was.
And where did you see her cell phone?
I want to think maybe by the bed. It was plugged in charging. That was one of the first things that set off the alarm for me.
Why was that?
Well, just because we all carried our cell phones around with us, and
Even
so,
in 05 was surprising to you that she had gone somewhere without her cell phone?
yeah.
Now, did you touch the cell phone?
I don't think I did. I don't know. I don't think so.
Do you recall seeing anybody else touch the cell phone?
No.
Were you there when law enforcement arrived?
Yes.
Other than what you told this jury, did you do anything else at the house that morning?
I don't think so.
I want to change gears and go back to the Saturday before. So, talk about Monday. Let's go back to Saturday.
Okay.
Did you see Tara that Saturday?
I did.
Where did you see her?
I saw her across the street from my house at Dr. Davis's on his back patio. We were having a cookout.
Did you actually go to the cookout that night?
I did for a bit. I had to leave and go take my mom a plate when we finished cooking.
Do you remember if Tara arrived before or after you went to go take your mother a plate?
I can't remember because I had the baby too, so I don't know. I can't remember.
And I know it's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
But do you recall what Tara would have been wearing that evening at the cookout?
She had on. I know she had on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, and either it was either a jacket or a sweater, a crocheted sweater or something. But there was an outer garment over the t-shirt.
And ask you, does that appear consistent with what you saw her wearing?
Yes.
And then I'm also going to show you on the screen in front of you what's been entered into evidence in State's Exhibit 2. Are you able to see that on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
And again, would that be consistent with what you saw Tara wearing that evening?
Yes.
After you saw Tara at Dr. Davis's residence that night on Saturday, did you ever speak with her again?
No.
Did you ever see her again?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor, briefly. Ma'am, when you walked up to the house, was the glove obvious to you?
Yes.
It stood out to you?
Yes.
Nothing further, objection.
All right. Ms. Causey, thank you for your testimony, ma'am.